Hey everyone, it's Mike with It's Pittsfield Tonight. I'm going to jump right into it, and I'm going to pick up with a story I've been talking about, and that is the Mayor Tire's ban on indoor dining in the city of Pittsfield. So, for those of you that have been following this and following the posts, the last post I made was talking about how yesterday there was the Zoom conference call that the restaurant owners had asked for with members of the Board of Health and the mayor, primarily the mayor, but there were a couple members of the Board of Health that spoke up, and some of our restaurant owners. And I tried to log into that Zoom meeting so I could report on it, and they wouldn't let me in. So, and I was upset about that, and last post you see, I made that post, and I used a ad that the mayor had used on social media when she originally ran for mayor about her platform and transparency, working with the press and all that. Because I was upset. And I said, whether they like it or not, I am media. And that was wrong. So the mayor's husband chimed in on that post and said that I'm not media. That I've appointed myself media, and I'm not media. I don't do fair and objective journalism or something like that. Well, normally I don't care when when people come out and say things. You can't please everybody. It's social media. I get there's going to be people that knock you, but when it's the mayor's husband that comes out and publicly does that on the page and starts this little whirlwind of people, saying some nasty things, it really upset me. And it really upset me. And he suggested in there that, that this in no way is an attack. It was an attack. And let me just explain this, because the reason why I wanted to log in and report that is so I could record it, portions of it myself as a member of it, and use little excerpts from it. And not to alter or change anything, but to get highlights out of it. They did upload it, the city did on YouTube, but I can't do that now, because like they did when I used clips from a PCTV filmed council debate at BCC, and I used a clip from that, which I also had my own footage of that. I just didn't label stuff right, and I was in a hurry that morning, so I grabbed the PCTV clip. It was a public debate. I didn't think it was an issue, and they turned me in to Facebook for copyright infringement. So I can't use that. That's why it upset me. They prevented me from doing that. But here's my point with all this. For one, the mayor's husband should not be doing that, in my opinion, because he is influential. He's not just the mayor's husband. He's a former city councilor. He still is a sitting member of a couple boards in the city. And for him to come out and publicly decide, who's media and who's not media, it is media. It might not be a form of media you like, but it is media. It's as much media as Rachel Maddow is media, or Tucker Carlson is media, or Chris Cuomo is media, or Sean Hannity is media. You might love or hate those people, but it's media. And whether you like what I'm saying or not, it's media. I don't make up the stories. They're real issues. I give my point of view on them, and I follow through to the best of my ability. I have said repeatedly, I would gladly sit down with the mayor. In this page, from the things we've done through this page, for one, for Barry to say that, with over 6,300 followers on this page, and with almost 5,000 of them being voters in the city of Pittsfield, it belittles everybody, because through this page, the issues that have come out are things like in the beginning, when I joined the Save the Art group and started covering that story and joined up with that group to try to save the art at the Berkshire Museum. We had some of the most prized pieces of art in the world that got auctioned and sold off. I was one of the people who thought that was bad. So that got me going in the beginning. Then the issue with the animal shelter, for those that remember that. And I put together a group of volunteers that included some city councilors, and we went down there and we cleaned up around the shelter, taking fencing down, weeds that were up over the top of my head, and there was resolution. At the end of the day with that story, the mayor did have to get involved, and there was resolution to all that. There's so many things. This has been a platform for many people that have run for public office. I've done interviews and offered interviews to all of them, and the ones that have accepted. Trash pickups in the city with volunteer groups. When the cafeteria workers in Pittsfield, for the Pittsfield Public Schools, were put out of work, and this page rallied in, and we got behind them, and I promoted and pushed their standouts and got up there with them, and that had resolution. Their jobs were saved. To the situation where I broke the story, what was going on at the temporary homeless shelter over the summer with St. Joseph's High School, and then how that transferred over to Springside Park. And I broke all that. I brought all that into the forefront, and the community again rallied and raised a lot of money, and people were giving food and clothing and shelter, tents, all sorts of things to help and assist these people and keep that story in the forefront, which it's still in the forefront. And I will be covering that tomorrow. I'll be reaching out to Councilor Tony Mafuccio. I've talked to him a couple times. I talked to him yesterday, and I applaud him for his effort there. So that's something I'm going to follow up on. So there's so many things that have happened through this page, including this situation with the restaurant owners and the ban on indoor dining, which has put hundreds and hundreds of people out of work in the city of Pittsfield. And I believe, my opinion, it is unfair. And it is unfair in the sense that indoor dining is open everywhere else in the state. Every surrounding town from Pittsfield, so it hasn't stopped indoor dining at all. If you watch the Zoom meeting that the city put up for yesterday with the mayor, they claimed how they saved lives or something. No, how? They didn't stop indoor dining. They just encouraged now everyone that was indoor dining in Pittsfield, now they were going to surrounding communities. And I know it's just a rumor, but I'm going to bring this up because there's even a photo floating around Facebook, and I wish the mayor or the co-mayor, her husband, I guess, that's what he's ordained himself now. The way he jumped in on my post, I hate to be like that, but the rumor is that they were seen dining out in a restaurant in one of the surrounding towns after she put this ban in place. Maybe they should come out and address that and say that either if that's true or not. Is that true, or is that just a rumor? Because, there's so much and there's little communication. I have talked to, I can't tell you how many business owners, and a lot of them, I hear the same thing, and I've heard it from the beginning. And I've been supporting our Pittsfield businesses since the day I started this. And I don't charge any of them anything. I do it all for free, advertising, everything. But I hear from a lot of them that, they'd love to speak up, but they can't. They fear retaliation from the city. Some of the restaurant owners, some that I won't mention that I've spoke to recently, that say, Mike, I can't, because next thing you know, I'll have the Board of Health in here trying to find something, and they'll find ways to try to shut me down or hurt me, and they fear that. They fear the government here. And one of the things I've heard quite a lot recently is, from one business owner, and I won't mention anyone by name, but from one business owner telling me that, they missed the days when Jerry Doyle was mayor. And they said even if you didn't disagree or agree with a lot of the things he was doing, Jerry was always accessible, easy to talk to. He cared about the business owners. Another business owner I spoke to recently, very similar type of story, but referring to our former mayor, Jim Roberto, saying that, Mike, I know that I've heard some of the things where you weren't necessarily a big fan of Jim Roberto, but he was really, really good of always stopping into the Pittsfield businesses asking, how things were going. Was everything doing okay? Did I have any questions or concerns? And not just like once a year or something, that he would do that on a regular basis. Stop into all the businesses. And I hear stuff like that a lot. This administration is not accessible, and people fear. I swear to God, I hear that so much. They worry about speaking up, not because they're afraid of these people. They're afraid of backlash, and their business is on the line, and they have employees and people that are relying on them. So that is something I hear all the time, and that hurts. And that's why through this page, even though, the mayor's husband, Barry, wants to come out and say that, and I don't know who's supposed to ordain me official media. Is there supposed to be some kind of coronation or something, or some ceremony at City Hall where a poof of white smoke or black smoke comes out of the top and they say, it's done, a new media has been chosen. And am I supposed to go kiss a ring and genuflect or something? I mean, what's the deal? Because this is media, whether you like it or not. And if you don't like it, don't listen. But it is media. It is media with over 6,300 people on this page that will say it is. So I just, that really upset me. And that's why I was mad that I was blocked out of that meeting, because I couldn't use excerpts from it, and I couldn't report on it and put a story together that way. And I will stay on that story. I have interviews coming up with restaurant owners this week. And it's not changing or twisting anything. It's letting the facts out there. Let them speak of how this has affected their business. When Governor Baker came out yesterday saying, the rumors of a shutdown and all that are not true right now, and if anything does happen, there'll be plenty of notice and people will know how it's going to be rolled out, but at this time, no. So still, out of 351 communities in the state of Massachusetts, Pittsfield is the only one that has a ban on indoor dining. And it is punishment to all the restaurant owners for a couple bad seeds that did things incorrectly. There is no link that these restaurants are spreaders or super spreaders of this virus. There's no link to that right now. The specific incidents that happened. They know exactly, if they're following through with their contact tracing, they know how it happened. So, my opinion is this is ridiculous. And it's beyond ridiculous, because it's costing people their livelihood. We're going to lose businesses over this that need support. And rally around them. Be positive. Be a leader. Be accessible. Be positive. There's city councilors that I disagree with. I'll give you one, for instance, Helen Moon. I've disagreed with Helen Moon on a lot of things. But I can say one thing about Helen Moon is she's passionate about what she does, and she's very accessible. I could message Helen Moon right now, and she'd get back to me within minutes. Within minutes. She's pleasant. She's nice. And I'm sure she's disagreed with me on a lot of things. That's okay. That's working for the community. I care about Pittsfield. I care about what happens to the community. And that's why I do this. I want to see it succeed. I want to see the community united. The community here was pretty united growing up in Pittsfield. Everybody knew everybody. And these restaurant owners are, the local restaurant owners are they're a special thing for a community, especially like ours. Drive by Wahconah Park and see the big Mazzeo's restaurant sign on the fence, because they sponsor baseball teams and sporting events, and so does the hot dog ranch, and so does all these other businesses that get involved, and they give donations to local charities, and they're always giving back to the community. And you can go in and talk to them. Watching all the restaurant owners that day that were there in front of City Hall, the way they were interacting with each other, it was great to see that. It was great to see local owners coming together. That's community. And we should all come together as a people. I get that not everyone's going to agree with everything I say, but I know why I do this, and I know where my heart is at, and I know that this platform has grown because it's a voice for a lot of people and a lot of big issues, and will continue to be. This page has brought so many issues out into the forefront, especially this past year. A lot of issues. So I'm not going to listen to the naysayers. I see it all the time. I'll give another example and a story I'm not going to comment on. But over this year, over the past few months, there's been a couple stories that the Berkshire Eagle did on our district attorney. And I'm not weighing any opinion in on those. But my point with this is, the last one they did, Tricia Farley Bouvier, our state rep, Dina Guil-Lampiazzi, who is a city councilor on the licensing board and works for the DA's office, both of them chimed in, calling the Berkshire Eagle fake news, basically, saying that's a made-up story, and they did it with the story before that. There was a story on the district attorney they did a couple months before that regarding a driving violation or something. I don't want to comment on that either. But again, anyone that disagrees with them, even the Berkshire Eagle, they try to marginalize them. They try to say it's fake news, and they pull that whole routine. How dare you do this? Yes, how dare the Berkshire Eagle report? Because if you don't like what they're saying, then they're not news all of a sudden. And that's what they did to them. And that's no different than what the mayor's husband did on this page, which is still there, to me yesterday, just to try to marginalize and go after people that way. And it's wrong. It's wrong to do that. If any resident can do that, but you have a responsibility. And if you're the mayor's husband and you sit on these important boards like the PERC or the PETA board, that's inappropriate. And it is. And you won't see me on other people's pages commenting and doing that stuff. I rarely comment on anyone's page. Rarely, ever. And the last time I did, it was the first time in a long time, I don't know, somehow it was taken, I guess, in a negative tone some way. It was about finance or something. I just deleted it and got out of there. And there was nothing negative about it. It was about the stock market or something. But I rarely ever go to anyone's page and do that. I send out happy birthday wishes, and when people are kind of bummed out and down and out, I always send messages to people asking them if they're okay and if they need somebody to talk to. I do that quite often, and I'm sure a lot of people on here could attest to that also. So anyway, it's just that kind of negativity, it just coming from the people like the mayor's husband to just divide us and separate us up even more. You don't like what I'm saying, I get it. But you have a responsibility for who you're married to and your position in the city. Being a former counselor and being on these boards and being married to the mayor, is that appropriate? Is it really? And then to try to compare me to another website, and just the whole thing really upset me. So anyway, that's it for now. I had to get that off my chest, and I will continue to do this. And I'm thankful for every single person that supports this page. And I will try to get as much information out there as I can, and support our restaurant owners, support all of our business owners. Support all of it. And there's another story I'll be covering about the situation on North Street with the slalom course and the in and out parking and all the things that, again, there was no public input, no public transparency on that. None. Zero. Nobody went and talked to anybody about that ahead of time. There was some questionnaire somewhere on a website that if you went looking for it, you could find it. But there was no real transparency on that either. But I'll be covering that, but I'm staying on this restaurant issue till it gets covered, because it is unacceptable that Pittsfield is the only community in the state that has a ban on indoor dining, and it is doing nothing except to curb indoor dining. It's just sending them to other communities and taking tax revenue away from the city and costing people their livelihood and jobs. And that's why I'm 100% against it, and it should be lifted immediately. Period. Focus on what's the tragedy that's happening in our nursing homes. Focus on that. So, again, that's it for now. Thank you, everyone. Be kind to each other. Wear your masks. Take this serious. There's light at the end of the tunnel. You're hearing vaccine a lot. But do all the things the right way. And I will catch y'all either tomorrow or the day after.